Okay, hello everybody, and here's a new documentary on our sump. We've added some new features. I thought it'd be cool to show everybody what's going on now. Not everything is exactly working according to plan, but everything will be shortly. As you can see, the fuge has some nice growth in it. Lights are off because it's a little early yet. And everybody's seen this part of it already. On the first video is my pumps isolated. There's my protein skimmer, and I cleaned that yesterday. Making some nice junk in there, really nice. So here's one addition, or two additions. There's my chiller, and there's my calcium reactor. I'm sorry, not my calcium reactor, my CO2 scrubber. Anybody following my thread saw the build on my CO2 scrubber. Hooks into my protein skimmer. Right next to it is my chiller. And what I did was come off this main line where I originally had a 1-inch plug off the pressure side. Return. I put in a valve right there that runs off to my calcium reactor, which I'll show you in a minute. I have a second valve sitting right down there. That's a spare one for something else. I don't know what at the moment, but something else. And then off the bottom I have a branch with a larger valve that follows over to my chiller. And currently I have my chiller dumping right back into the sump over here. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that yet, but we'll see. I've added my ORP probe in here now that my other tank is down. I've added of course my pH has been in here. I added a second temperature gauge to give you my sump temperature readings, as well as the sump ORP and sump pH. I also have tank pH and tank temperature upstairs. Everything's reading through my Aptec. There's a new module sitting up there. My chiller and everything's connected in there. My chiller is currently off. I'm not using a temperature control on the chiller. I just don't trust it. So what I'm doing is I'm controlling it by the tank temperature. Whatever the tank temperature says, I'm turning the chiller on and off based on that. Besides, with the chiller turned off, it's drawing about 300 or 150 to 200 milliamps of power. And there's no reason to just sit there and draw 100 or so milliamps of power if you don't need to. So I have it controlled through the Apex plug. So back along this pipe I have a high pressure line which has this lab grade quick disconnect, which also has a positive stop on the ball valves on both sides. Like I said, it is lab grade. I'll connect that later. It goes to my calcium reactor, which is now sitting up here, and I put it up here. This is a K2R modified with a pH probe on the top. It's supposed to be good for about 400 gallons. I've got Argonite and Neomag in it, but it's not running right now. And the reason why it's not running is my pump has a crack in it, so it's leaking. Fortunately, I put it in this Tupperware container. I put a drain into the side of the Tupperware container, which by gravity I'm draining back to the sump. The pipe's not there right now because I had to take it down. So fortunately, I was running the calcium reactor the other night, Saturday night, and Sunday morning I woke up to find water draining from the tube back into the sump, which was okay. But I found a crack in my calcium reactor. So there's my CO2 tank sitting there. And I got a nice wire rack that's got all of my stuff in there, my test kits, some dosing stuff, my pH calibration solution, so on. Now somebody asked a question on the web. Oh, the calcium reactor, this is my Rube Goldberg drip tube. It comes down here into my old probe holder into a fitting that I have screwed in and drips right into the return down into the drain down here. I did not want to drill into the sump, so I drilled a hole into the top of the cover, which fits the hose very nicely. Now on the refugium, I'm going to take the top off of this so everybody can get a better shot of it. Here's the tube coming out of the back with the holes in the bottom. This feeds the refugium, and now I don't know if you can make this out, but there is a grate there. The right side of the refuge is lower than the left side, so it kind of falls over like a waterfall down between this channel down and into the sump, just nice and gradually. It falls over there like a waterfall, comes back under the top and around. So that's how my refuge gets its water and how it returns the water back to the tank. Top back on there. And like I said, I got all kinds of stuff growing in here. This stuff's growing like wildfire, which is good. All of this is controlled by my apex, and fortunately has a sideline. Probably not many people know, but I also am a part owner of an internet business, so my son gets the benefit of having his own internet playground over here, which is a rack full of servers and firewalls and all kinds of jazz. But I get the benefit of having a console here, which gives me a nice readout of my my apex, and the current status here is water temperature is 92.2 and an 8.29 pH, which is really nice, so I can work all the equipment right from here, turn things on and off, and monitor the system right from this part of the bench here. So that's how my sump in the basement is coming together. Tomorrow I'll do a video strictly on the tank now, because that's changing a whole lot also. Now I got a little rack here with some of my daily necessities here. Some chemicals that I once in a while dose with, some test kits, my coral dip. Underneath I have my, right now I'm using a separate reservoir for my calc. Eventually over here, or in this corner where that bin is going to be a 40-gallon ATO, which is currently on order, and the container is anyway, and I'm going to set that up to automatically refill my system, and I do use calc. Okay, well, that's the sump. See you tomorrow with the tank.